It's DEW Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this DEW Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you yesterday? Yesterday was Let's Talk About It Tuesday Church Folk Day, and our girl Shantice held it down with our Pastor Vinny and our Pastor KL. And I was able to catch some bits and pieces of the stories yesterday. And one of the stories that I heard was the three men, quadrillionaires, they had all this money, but yet was running what do you call that thing? The trafficking, the sex trafficking. They were, drugging women and all kinds of things. It's like, it just shows you that money does not buy everything. Why would you need to drug anybody when you have that kind of money? Because there were women out here, let's be frank, we all adults, ain't no kids on here, they give it up for free. You ain't gotta pay for nothing out here these days, because there's always somebody who will give it up, who will do anything just for the fun of it, just because they're greedy, just because they have their own ulterior motive. What is with that? Maybe we'll talk about that with the ladies, because Lady Tamika and myself we weren't on yesterday. She was on with the pastors, so maybe there's another conversation that could actually take place with the ladies today. I don't know. Well, the other story I heard was the bullying story of the girl who was on the bus, who wasn't supposed to be on that bus, and ended up fighting one of the other students, and the student later passed away. Now, it would be wonderful to say, I don't have anything to do with that. Well, she had a heart problem already, or she had a brain problem already, that I didn't do that. That already existed. Well, did you do something to exacerbate what was already existing? Is that, whoa, my body is killing me, but I gotta tell you, I can't stop from clapping my hands. Yo, is that the way we looking at life? Is that the way, we're supposed to be functioning? Just day before yesterday, I gave scriptures where we're supposed to outdo one another with love, outdo one another with honor, honoring someone else before our own self-serving purpose comes along. What are we doing for someone else that we would want them to do for us, but when it's our turn, it's like null and void? So with this particular case, you have this girl where the school is saying, we don't have anything to do with it. Well, I'm curious to know, had they made a claim at the school? Did the school already know that this was existing? Now, can you fault the school for not knowing if they honestly didn't know? No, you can't fault them. However, are there some other things that they could have put in place that would have prevented at least that girl from being on that bus? See that? Yo, are you watching God? Are you watching God right here? God is amazing. Yo, he gives us very little out. Do y'all catch that? He gives us very little out. We have to make sure we are always stepping up to the plate properly. Because when we're not, God gonna snag us. Oh, he gonna snag us. He's definitely gonna snag us. So here we are, just like I said a couple of days ago, we got verses regarding how we are to treat one another. And I don't think we're paying attention to this thing. Because if you go to the guys who were trafficking the women, why would you treat them like that? Why do men feel as though women are just nothing, just a piece of meat, just garbage, just something that they can take advantage of? Why do you automatically feel that way? What is that about? If you don't understand that that's wrong, you really need to check your heart. But see, here's the thing. When you talk about either story, God is checking our hearts either way. Yeah. We got to put a check on that heart always. Give me a clean heart that I may serve you. So if you completely belong to the enemy, you're never going to ask God to check your heart, because you already know where your heart is. He says, if you belong to the enemy, you are a liar, and you belong to the father of lies, because he was a liar from the very beginning. So, whoa, guess what? That means that so are you. So are you. You're a liar at heart. Oh, there's a call this morning for y'all to check them hearts. And I got on telling Shantice, I said, no, we're going to have to wait an extra couple of minutes to get on, because I wasn't on yesterday. So I don't have anything, that I spoke about that I could elaborate on. But just paying attention to what Shantice and Pastor Kale and Pastor Vinny was talking about yesterday, that was my segue altogether. Didn't have any idea that God was going to check our hearts. Check your heart. Check. Whoa. Check your heart. Check your heart. You done got up fresh this morning. What have you done yesterday, the day before? What did you do this morning that God is saying to you, listen, I need you to look. I need you to look in that mirror, and I need you to examine yourself from top to bottom. And then I need to bring you to me. And I need you to say to me, God, give me a clean heart. Wipe away everything that is not in you, of you, or about you. Check them hearts this morning. We're going to call this Heart Wednesday. And forget about the wow. We're going to call it Heart Wednesday this morning. Check your heart. And I'm not asking for the physical part of your heart. Shantice mentioned yesterday about the other little one who, they say that your heart, I always heard that from years ago, that your heart is as big as your fist. That's how you could gauge how big your heart is. Well, guess what? Your heart, your spiritual heart, that heart you give to God, based on scripture, it needs this big. It needs to be the size of both fists, because already we are operating at the size of our regular fist, and that is not good enough. Oh, because if it was, we wouldn't have to check it. Oh my goodness. Well, listen, if I go on, then Vivian won't get on. So go ahead and get that healthy breakfast. Go ahead and tell somebody, anybody, everybody that It's Due Time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere, because we will be right back.
Difference between self-love and self-worship. A lot of people think they love themselves, but what they really do is they worship themselves. Self-worship says, this is who I am, deal with it. And self-worship keeps you stuck, because it's all about ego. I'm just like that. That's just how I am. Half of us are living out our traumas, and we think that that's who we are. And because we worship ourselves, we don't change, we don't grow. Self-worship keeps you in stasis and forces everyone else around you to try to adjust if they want to stay in relationship with you. But self-love is willing to look at oneself and say, how can I grow? How can I be better? How can I be more loving to the people around me? Self-love is very powerful.
Well, even the PSA. Good morning. Good morning and good morning. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Even the PSA is already on the same page as Pastor Steph this morning. So God must clearly be saying something to you today. All right. Well, let's not belabor this any longer. We got to get our girl Vivian on. And it is Wild Heart Wednesday. Let's say good morning to our girlfriend Viv.
Good morning. Happy Wow Wednesday. How are you, Pastor Steph?
Girl, it's taking a lot to do this wave. You're going to have to come over and wave this hand for me. How are you this morning?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. All right. You know what I like to ask you? What you got for us today?
All right. Today on Socially Conscious, excuse me, we are starting off in New York City. Lawmakers are pushing a proposal that could dramatically change wages for workers across the city. They're saying a group of city council members is advocating for legislation that would raise the city's minimum wage to $30 an hour by 2030, nearly doubling the current minimum wage that is about right now at $17 per hour. Supporters say the proposal is meant to address the growing cost of living in New York, where many full-time workers still struggle to afford rent, groceries, childcare, and transportation despite working a full-time job. So under the plan, the wage increase would happen gradually over the next several years. Larger companies with more than 500 employees would be required to reach about $20 an hour by 2027, with incremental increases each year until it hits $30 an hour by 2030. Smaller businesses would likely be given a longer adjustment period, potentially reaching the same wage by 2032. So bigger corporations have until 2030, while smaller corporations have until 2032, all trying to reach that $30 an hour goal. Advocates say the phased approach gives businesses time to adapt to the new wage increase, while still moving toward a wage that reflects the realities of living in New York City. So this is a proposal that's going on right now in discussions. Hopefully it's something that they will approve and that we can look forward to. Speaking of more money, a proposal is also going out that could change how parking works in New York City. The city is starting to gain, this proposal is starting to gain attention. Some city officials and policy groups have proposed the idea of expanding parking meters or creating residential parking permits for streets that are currently free. The discussion is happening as leaders look for new ways to manage crowded streets and potentially bring in more revenue for the city. So for those blocks that are mostly near homes and different buildings, residential buildings that we can park on for free, they are talking about putting meters there and or requiring that residents of those blocks pay for parking permits in order to park on their block for free. And this is how they are trying to garner money for the city. The idea would mean that some neighborhoods could move away completely from free parking. Instead, residents might have to pay a monthly fee, a yearly fee for parking permits in their area. More streets could have meters installed. While supporters say the proposal could help regulate parking and generate funding for the city, critics say it could make living and driving in New York even more expensive. So right now, this is still in the discussion stage. Nothing has been approved or implemented, but the proposal has sparked conversation among lawmakers and residents about whether the city should continue offering large amounts of free street parking or begin charging for more of these spaces. They are also saying that this could help with the parking issue in New York. If you're a driver, you know, depending on where you live, it's very hard to find parking. So they're also trying to throw out there that this could ease up parking for the residents. Yeah. Lastly, we have an update on the story that Pastor Steph brought to us on Monday, I believe it was, about the teacher who was tragically killed after a prank gone wrong, while the wife of said teacher has entered the chat, as they say. And the wife is saying she is asking authorities not to prosecute the teenagers involved. The teacher died after confronting students who had come to his home to TP his yard as part of a senior prank. During the encounter, as Pastor Steph let us know, he slipped in the street and was struck by the vehicle driven by one of the teens. So as of right now, 5 teenagers were arrested after the incident. The driver is facing serious charges, including vehicular homicide and reckless driving, while the other students face misdemeanor charges related to trespassing and the prank itself. But the teacher's wife says her husband spent his life monitoring young people and believes he would not want their lives destroyed over what she sees as a tragic accident. Her response, of course, has sparked broader conversation about accountability, forgiveness, and how situations involving young people should be handled when something meant to be a prank turns into a deadly tragedy. And now we have our wild story of the week, which is a strange new lawsuit that is raising questions about how far artificial intelligence should go when it comes to giving advice. Now we know ChatGPT is out there. Many people are turning to ChatGPT for everything. Well, this one lady who was in a lawsuit with a life insurance company over a disability case, she turned to ChatGPT for legal advice. And as it was said that ChatGPT pretty much influenced her to fire her human lawyer and, in a sense, hire it instead. And that's exactly what she did. She fired her human lawyer and turned to ChatGPT for advice on this case. It says that the lawsuit claims the chatbot essentially convinced her to fire her human lawyer and rely on the AI instead, helping her to draft legal arguments and documents in an attempt to reopen the closed disability case. Unfortunately for her, the plan didn't work. The judge still denied her request to reopen the case, meaning the original settlement that she agreed to was kept in place. The case stayed closed, and she continued to fight this, trying to get her case reopened using ChatGPT. At the end, they're saying the tables have now turned because the life insurance company is going after her and ChatGPT, saying that because of her, they were forced to spend $300,000 in legal fees, paying attorneys to review the documents that were prepared by ChatGPT, prepare responses for it, and defend against the repeated court filings. Because of that, the company is now suing OpenAI, claiming ChatGPT essentially acted like an unlicensed lawyer and caused them to rack up major legal costs. They're asking for that $300,000 back, and up to $10 million in punitive damages, which could turn into a landmark case about how much responsibility AI companies have when people start treating chatbots like legal counsel. So now, when she thought she would be using ChatGPT to get more money and to win this case, now she finds herself in a legal battle because of her decision to use ChatGPT as a lawyer. Wow. But this has been Vivian with Socially Conscious, giving you the news that we are following. Remember, if you have any wild stories you would like to submit, please feel free to direct message me on Facebook. My username there is Vivian BM, and come back every Wednesday to find out if your story has been chosen. Thank you, as always, to our loyal viewers and listeners, and thank you, Pastor Steph.
Thank you, Vivian. Thank you. Always got the stories that's going to make us contribution into today's episode, and we pray you have a blessed day.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. Boy, a lot of stuff to mull over. Well, you know what we do on Wednesdays. We kind of reverse the process of saying good morning so we can get our girl Vivian on. Well, let's say good morning. So if you're in the room, please make sure you check in so that I know you're out there. I don't know you're there if you don't give me a shout out. Let's say good morning to our boy Terrence. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Terrence reached out and checked on me yesterday when he saw Shantice on, just making sure I was okay. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Terrence. We got a check-in from our boy Serge. Hey, Serge. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. We got a check-in from our girl, Ketty. Good morning, Ketty. Thank you so much. You must have been getting that coffee this morning. The guys beat you to it. Lady Tamika, thank you so much for joining us in the chat room. Looking forward to talking to you behind the screen in a minute. We got a check-in from Charlotte. Hey, Charlotte, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. All right. Ketty says, I love that PSA. And Terrence has got some feedback from Vivian's story, so we'll read them when the story comes up. And we got to say good morning to the ladies that hold it down for us each and every morning. Without them, we would not be on. Let's say good morning to our girl Shantice. Good morning. Looking forward to talking to you in a hot second. And let's say good morning to our girl Anika. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for always hiding out in the cut, making sure we are doing well. All righty. Well, Vivian has definitely got some stuff for us to talk about this morning. So we're going to the lawmakers here in New York City, who they are pushing the proposal to change our minimum wage. So now we're at like $15, and they're looking to change it. They're making this push to change it from what it is now to $30 by 2030, because it would address the constant change and increase of New York City living. We've got childcare, we've got rent, we've got food, we've got utilities. Boy, the list goes on and on. So they're saying that, even with people working full time, they are still not making it. So they're looking to move this to a hefty $30. Now, here's the thing. They're making a proposal to do it incrementally so that the larger companies would start at $20. They would increase to $20 by the year of 27, which is only a short time from now, because we're in March of 26 already. Time is flying. So, they're going to be, if this goes through, they'll be changing. If you work for a large company, they'll be changing it to $20 as of 2007. And over the next 3 years, until you get to 2030, you would graduate to $30. Now, for the smaller companies, they are giving them till 2032. Now, I don't quite know what they consider to be a large company or a small company, but either way, you already know where you are if you're working there. So, they'll do those small increments until they actually reach the $30. So let's see what our ladies think. Let's say good morning to our girl, Lady Tamika. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Wow or Happy Heart Diagnosis Wow Wednesday.
Okay. All right. And let's say good morning to our girl, Shantice. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies. How are you?
Morning.
Well, you're well, about as well as we can do right now. Thank you very much. All right. Let's get to talking. Lady Tamika, what say you about this not only increase, but their way of actually distributing it is, going to be customized, but ultimately to get to $30 in a matter of 4 years.
It sounds good on paper, but you have to know that when you do that and you've got, so for instance, if you've got someone, and not picking, it just is what it is. If you have someone working at a fast food chain and they're making 30, and I'm working at a corporate company, if they're making 30, then that means that you've got to up the ante on me too. So does that mean I make 60? You're going to have a whole lot of fights on your hand. And in addition to that, New York is already as high as it is. We're having issues now in areas that we didn't think of. This goes up because of oil, and this goes up because of this goes up because of steel, and this goes up because of that. And so, this thing has been in the air for quite a while about, them bringing up the minimum wage. I remember when they shifted the minimum wage to $15 in certain areas, 13 in others. That's where you have some of those issues. So you got to be real careful when you decide that that's what you're going to do. Trust and know everybody's going to have their hand out.
Oh yeah. There's a whole lot of questions behind this thing here, Lady Tamika. You're on to something. So you brought up a couple of things. Let's see what Shantice is thinking over there. What you got, Shantice?
Well, my concern is it going to have New York City raise other things now to match?
Yep.
To match because now I would kind of be on the up. You don't want me to be on the up for multiple reasons. So if I'm making $30 an hour, that's my minimum. Is MTA still going to be $3? No. You're going to find a reason to raise that. You're going to find a reason to raise fast food. You're going to find a reason to raise everything that you can. Now you're going to have to start paying for a library card. This is like, they're just going to start implementing things that's like, when did they start doing this? When? So it's like, it ends up still kind of working against you because the more they give us, the more they make us to have to pay out. So so that's just my concern. Like, so we not going to like live, will that be?
Absolutely. So we got Terrence who says if they raise minimum wages, they don't think other things won't get raised as well. He's matching what you ladies are thinking. You have Vivian who says large businesses are ones who have 500 or more employees. Okay, thank you, Vivian, for the clarity. Wasn't too sure whether it was 350 or 500, so thank you for clearing that up for us. We have Serge who says that small increment gives these companies time to increase their product prices and rents. Other places will have time to increase as well. as they should right away. Anika says exactly. Everything will get raised as these corporations is not going to give us their price marginals. Yeah, their profit marginals. And that's what the first thing my head went. I was like, oh, this sounds great. Oh my goodness, I'll be making $30 an hour. And I said to myself, okay, so everything else is going to go up as well. Because see, here's the way this world works. This world works that says, I'm not going to let you get over on me. So if you can make more money, I can surely charge more prices, higher prices, because you can afford it now. Now, I was forced to keep my prices lower because they were saying that, we would be price gouging, just taking advantage. Now that you're at $30 an hour, now you think I'm gonna keep my $1.25 or $1.50 treat? I went in there one day and we went from they just told us $1.25. They did make that announcement. They didn't tell us they was going to. Some of the stuff is not $1.25. Some of the stuff is like $1.75. So my thing is, this is going to be stuff that's going to be happening all over the place. The other thing I thought about was what Serge said. So you didn't gave me 3-4 years on these increases. Yeah, on the back end, I'm going to be slowly increasing my prices as well. So, this is going to be some real tough stuff to come up against when it comes to who's going to be the winner. So, we appreciate the fact that, you're mindful of, we got to pay more money and rent's increasing and childcare is increasing. But it's here in New York City, it's going to work against us. It's going to work against us quicker. Because look at the next segment that Vivian brings up. Yo, I got a pet. I am just twisted over this next thing. But guess what? This now feeds what everybody was just saying in regards to this. So the next segment, the item that Vivian brings to us, is that now they will change parking. So already, as you know, if you're in New York City, we used to get like your money, your meter, you used to like a quarter, and you used to get an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Now it's like a quarter for like 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Some places in the city is a half hour. Now what they're proposing to do is to expand the parking meters. So where you would find on, like, let's say for argument's sake, on your major intersections or your major streets, you would find that in residential areas, they would now have parking meters. Woo! And now they're saying that they need to meet the increase of all of these cars. So now they're going to add parking meters to the side streets. You better believe they're going to increase the amount that you pay in the regular parking meters. But you have some resistance, of course, because now people are saying, well, if you charge us extra for everything, it's going to be more expensive to live in New York, where Mom Donnie, his whole proposal was to keep New York less expensive. Shantice, is he really getting what he said, or is he really pushing what he said?
Not from the sounds of this. You putting parking meters on side streets? How do you think that's gonna work? So the goal is to try to get New Yorkers to not drive at all. That sounds like that's what the goal is. Like even on the side streets, I have to worry about alternate side parking, what time I move my car, night regulations. What? Why? That's part of the whole benefit of not living in the city. If I live in Queens, if I live in Brooklyn, if I live in the Bronx, as long as I'm not living on a main street and I don't have to park on a main street, I'm good. How is this I just see a lot of fights happening, but somehow I just see there being a whole lot of fights breaking out. So what happens with the blocks that are part driveways and the other homes on the block don't have driveways? Like how so now you're going to be forcing people to take their chances to now be ignorant and park in, like, to block someone's driveway, not go in their driveway or figure out park here, get up and move soon, but then they're gonna oversleep. Like, I don't even understand the point that you are helping to create, all because you're money hungry. Why cause unnecessary chaos? For what? Already you're talking about increasing, because that's what I was saying, Pastor Steph. I'm like, why is it that now 25 cents only gives me 20 minutes?
Yep. Yep.
I know what, I gotta run back out here and feed the meter, or and you, this whole get on the app. Do you know how much it costs to pay for it on the app?
Wow. Do
Yes.
they increase the prices on the app?
No. Here's what they do on the app. So you go to the machine, right? And it says you can insert your card, which a lot of people do now. They don't really do the coins. So you can use your coins or your quarters, and let's just say it's 25 cents for each half hour. So when you go on the app, you don't have that price margin. It's just like if you were to go on Uber Eats and order Popeyes versus if you were to go to Popeyes and order Popeyes.
Wow.
When you go to the actual Popeyes, you might be able to get the 5 pieces for the $10.
Right.
The options on Uber Eats for Popeyes is the 4-piece for $30. That's how it reads on the parking meter app.
Wow.
They try to hit you with the okie doke. So now, and you have to set to where you cannot use the app unless you choose which amount you want it to automatically refill to.
Wow.
So I can't just go and say I want to pay
15 minutes.
Yes, 50 cents for 60 minutes. No, before I choose that, I have to choose 25, 50, I think 75, and then $100 as to what I want to automatically. Yes. But I want to automatically refill. Who's doing that? So you have to, yes, so pretty much you just contend with running back and forth to the meter. It's just ridiculous. It's like, we have to stop being so greedy. Why are we so greedy?
Wow. Tamika, Lady Tamika, oh my goodness, you over there nodding your head. What's happening here? Is this going to be a real fight? Do we have any say about this?
When I say that's trauma. As we get older, you have doctor's appointments, and you are literally held hostage out there, in areas where, there are plenty of places, like she said, that, okay, so the facility is over here, but like the whole block and areas around the block all have driveways. So I can't park here, okay, so then it's like, okay, we finally found one. It's a hydrant. So you can't park anywhere, And then, so the only other place that you can see is, a place where you have to pay, through the app. And it's like, especially with a facility like that, okay, so we know that for the most part, this is going to be a, an in and out. But they hold us hostage to a minimum of 2 hours. Wait a minute, I'm only going to be here for a half an hour. And I've got to pay this price. Now, take it to the residential area. So the house that I currently live in does not have a driveway. So there are plenty of times where Al will have to circle the block multiple times to find a park. And then, when he does find a park in this area, there are driveways. So can't park there, alternate side parking. I can't park there because, I'm not going to be able to leave at a certain time. Now you're talking about, he's lived here for 20 years. Now you're talking about, I live here and I have to pay to park in my area. Like that doesn't make sense. That does not make sense, and he's had, my house, the house that I still own, has a driveway. We're almost to the point now where, and it's, it's a couple of stops on the train. So are we going to have to park our car in my driveway, then take the train and come back home? You know, like what else?
Wow.
You know, how else can you alleviate it? I mean, there have been even instances where Al has to sleep in his car because there's no way to park.
There's no parking. Right.
I feel like, in a way, this is your way of getting money back for all of these asylum seekers that came. You're trying to find ways to make money at that point. And it's like, you know, I didn't ask for them to be here, you know, and, you know, I understand their situation. However, we all had said, y'all better think about this thing before you do.
Right. The repercussions and the reverb behind these decisions. You're absolutely right. You know, I thought you were going to bring up something else. That's why I said I was twisted. You can't tell me I'm paying taxes on my house, and then I now got to pay the park. You have lost your ever-loving mind. So my property taxes mean nothing, because what did Vivian bring to us a couple of weeks ago about? And we were like, well, we already paying taxes. Or they were saying, oh, if they can't give the increase to the rich, then they're going to throw it to us who own homes. What? You have lost your minds. You have lost your minds. This can't be a recourse. This cannot be your last resort. And I'm saying to myself, okay. So like Shanti said, if you, and like you said, Lady Tamika, if you've parked and you got, so even if they kept it to not your personal block, but the off blocks that are major. So for argument's sake, let's say you're parking on, you know, Hutchinson River Parkway, you know, that's free, but it's, you know, it's a main street, but you're not going to park on Ivy Road. You live on Ivy Road. So sometimes if there's no parking on Ivy Road, you go to Hutchinson River Parkway and you just park there. So you're saying that you're going to charge me for parking on Hutchinson River Parkway and there's no parking on Ivy Road. And yet, what is that going to mean for me when I park on Hutchinson River Parkway? Because you're going to have parameters for when I park on Hutchinson River Parkway. I can't park at this time, can't park at that time. Then this, oh my gosh. I'm like, are you serious? I got to get up at 2:00 in the morning to now move my car and to double park. And I know exactly what you're talking about, Lady Tamika, about some people just have to kind of sleep in their car, because there's certain places I say, you know, Al's been there for 20 years, but I don't understand people who move into these places and you ain't got no parking. You didn't look, you own a car. You now I'm not buying a car and I'm not moving to no place where I ain't got no parking. So now I'm a half parking, but I'm gonna have to pay for the parking. I think it goes right back to what Shantice was saying. They're trying to just discourage you from having a car. Plain and simple as that. Because this here, the stuff that they're talking about doing, this is crazy. Terrence says the crazy part is that they're trying to do the street parking right when we're gonna be paying all that money to the city, and then we think we get it back with the $30 an hour, not knowing that everything else is going up. That's exactly what we were talking about. It's going up before we can even get to the 30. What you think is going to happen when we get to the 30?
You don't have, okay, so they're discouraging you from getting a car, but the subway toll just went up. So you still stuck.
Right.
Anyway, you still got to pull out your pocket. And if you're saying to me that you're going to tax the rich, I don't see where it's happening.
Right. Because if you did, we wouldn't be worried about all these stupid little things you keep wanting to kick back to the poor man. Because that's exactly what happened. You're either poor or rich. You ain't no in between at all. We've got Nico says, right, and there are houses on the block that have more than 2 cars already taking up space. Absolutely. So now you have this, now you have all of this influx, and now you have, you know, this parking wars going on. We got to check in from Miss Grace. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Miss Grace. Hope you're doing well. So, you know, this is not, I'm sorry. I asked a rhetorical question a minute ago. You know, what can we do? You know, what I'm tired as a homeowner. Every 5 minutes, I keep getting hit with an increase. I'm about tired of this. I told you all, I think a couple of weeks ago, that I looked at my mortgage bill for the following year, and it was $230 some odd dollars that I would be increasing. So here's what happens. You sign a mortgage that says I'll pay $1,000 a month, right? So you add another $200 for your escrow. So you said, all right, you know what? I know how much I'm making. I can sign for $1,200 a month, because if I was in an apartment, I'd be paying the same. I can sign for that. But lo and behold, with the increases that are continually getting applied to you, when you look up, you're paying $1,700-$1,800. Now you are back in your mortgage payments because you can't afford when you initially could afford to live there.
Yeah.
I don't think they're thinking of the reverberation of a lot of the things that they're doing. There's no way in the world this is going to be to the average man. There's no way in the world. You are saving the rich man from having to pay an extra dollar, but you are nickel and diming us in every single thing, down to the parking meter on a regular block. Are you serious? You can't be serious. Mom Donnie, I don't know how long you gonna last, my brother, because we've been in here 3 months, and everything that he's talked about has gone down the drain. Everything he has talked about is going straight down the drain. Terry says, I agree, Tamika. They don't want us to drive the cars. They want everybody on the train systems. The Long Island Railroad, basically the city, won all this money for the government. So if they put parking out, oh well. And he says, and no matter what the government says, whatever is going, they're going to win. They remind me of the casino house rules. House always wins. It's true. It's true. That's why I said we have no say. All we do is just sit back and just allow these. And they want to know why they're losing residents for New York City. That's why people are constantly moving. What'd you say?
Because they can't afford it.
No. Because I'm going to tell you something. This is just indicative of what's going to happen if they change this minimum wage to $30. If you could work at McDonald's and get $30 an hour, you better believe they're going to smash you every single place. If you go get a bottle of water, it's going to be $5. You ain't going to have to worry about going to the club and getting a $5 bottle of water. It's going to be $5 right at your corner store. Because guess who else they're taking property taxes and hitting them with? The stores, those businesses, those little businesses that's in our neighborhoods.
That's right, the bodegas.
That's right, they hitting them as well. So we are really, really in, man, if you don't have God in your life, you are on sinking sand for real. Oh my goodness. All righty. Here's an interesting twist. Day before yesterday, I brought the story of the teacher who, the school, and I want to make sure I mention this. The school had sent out notices to the parents and the students asking them to refrain from the pranks. They do not only not listen. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Shut up. But they take it to a teacher's home where they toilet paper his home. He comes out, he falls, and timing is incredible. That the driver of the pranksters actually mows him over with his car and kills him. So they arrest all of the 5 who were involved, charging the driver much more heavily. And now the wife of the teacher is making a petition that the children, the students, 18 and older, will not be charged for this murder because the husband spent his years working and helping these children and would not want them to be charged for this tragic quote unquote accident. Lady Tamika, they done killed your husband after they gave the warning not to pull any pranks.
How many times in our lives do we get warnings? We don't even proceed with caution. We just drive right on in, speed, and that literally is what happened. You were told, don't do this. I commend the wife, understanding, when we often talk about stuff like that, you can't make this stuff up.
You can't, girl.
How in the world could that have happened? That UTP, and that had to be some serious toilet paper, like mounds and mounds of toilet paper.
Right.
Or just, you ever got like a little piece of toilet tissue on the back of your shoe?
Right.
So you really did it up, and he slid to his death, and I commend the wife for saying that, but I know she's going through it, and to look at this child, and the child didn't mean, it's so fun. I didn't mean it. How do you look me in the face and say, I didn't mean it? That's a real good heart, and I understand why she would say that, because, his life is already ruined. The whole idea of you seeing your teacher, you mowing down your teacher and you seeing it, that's going to stick with you for life,
Absolutely.
Oh,
Ooh, Shantice, they gave warning, and they not only pulled the prank, but they came on your property where you live to pull the prank.
Again, I asked, how did they know where he lived? What due diligence did you have to take in order to obtain his home address? That alone warrants a punishment. Why do you know where I live? That is a heavy violation. I asked that when Pastor Steph originally gave the story. Now, I know God calls us to be empathetic and sympathetic and compassionate and loving and graceful. At the same time, y'all deliberately, not only did you deliberately break the rules, it ended in someone's death. I can't say God didn't put it on her heart to say this. That would be some heavy mercy God is having on these children. That would have to be one of those sneezes. That would have to be one of those instances where the Lord comes in person in front of me and says, Shantice, petition for them. Because the school, now here we keep asking, did the school do their due diligence? The school did their due diligence.
Right.
Ensuring that everyone got the verbal, because I'm sure that it wasn't only written memos that went out. I'm sure on the PA system and all of that, there were flyers hung up in the school, do not perform any pranks. It was said to tell a friend, tell another friend, to tell your friend who cut school today, do not perform any pranks. And not only did you perform a prank, but you made it your mission to go above and beyond to be at this man's home. What if his wife would have gotten hurt?
Or the children.
Right. I was just about to say. So you thinking you pulling a prank on the teacher and his wife and or the children or a neighbor could have got caught up in your stupidity. All in the name of a fake laugh. Because who is still TPing a house? Ain't this 2026? Those are pranks that we saw back
in the 70s.
Yes, when we watched the 90s sitcoms and the older sitcoms, I was just watching Moesha the other day, and that's a prank that they pulled. Moesha came out in the 90s. Why is that still something that is which shows that there's no thought put into anything. No thought put into anything. I don't know. I don't know if that would be something that, and it could be, That would be something that if he had lived, but he was paralyzed or something, that he would be like, don't make it to where the kids don't have to pay. I don't know.
Pastor Steph, I believe that these children probably frequented that home. This is something that they did on the weekend, maybe. Because how else would you know where I live? How else would you know?
Yeah, maybe. There have been teachers who have invited the kids over to the house to do, some project or extracurricular activities, so, and then again, we don't know how large the town is, so, everybody knows your name type of place. So you're right, Shantice, to ask, how did you know? But, there are many ways that we could possibly answer this question as to how. For her to have compassion on the children could be because she also knows them. Well, how could she know them? Because they've been to her house. So I agree with you, Tamika. That was one of the thoughts that came to my mind. Maybe they live in a small town, or maybe they went to the house or something. I don't know. Terrence says, I want to see the wife. Oh, okay. So I'm going spiritual here. When we're in service, I always tell the congregants, pay attention to everything you learn here, because as soon as you leave here, you're going to get approached and you're going to have to stand up and be prepared. But God is taking the time to prepare you today for what's going to happen before you can blink. And many times they come back and say, you always say, we learned today. So, and sure, lo and behold, blah, 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 blah. So you have the school that warned them only moments before you deliberately, even in a jokingly manner, when you deliberately went outside of what you were told not to do. So it's like God is saying, listen, you accustomed to doing this stuff here? Stop. Just stop. How many of us have been caught behind an 8 ball? Mm-hmm. God didn't put up that block for us to not do something. We push past it, and what happens? We end up getting smashed. Get smashed from early. Catch him when he's 18. Smash him. Smash him now. Understand that there's a warning for you. You were deliberately and distinctly told not to do something. You push past, and now you suffer the consequences. If he learns this at 18, then when he comes out of jail, maybe he'll learn to live it. And that's where my head goes. I would hate to know that you have to spend another 20 years. But let me tell you something. In that town, they ain't gonna give them a whole lot of time. They ain't living in no big city where everybody is going to be demanding that they pay. The very wife is asking for them to not have to pay. That town ain't going to push. He's probably going to get 5 days of probation. I'm following this story because I am dying to find out. I don't think they're going to get any time. I think they'll all get probation. He'll get maybe 20 years of probation, 20 minutes of probation. But that's where my head goes. My head goes, God speaks and deals with us. We always talk about the fact that, God is a merciful and loving God. He didn't love your life at 18 no more than he loved this man's life who you just got finished killing. He knew that whatever you did would cause him death. So here's what he said. Stop. Not only the TP, stop everything. Just stop. Mm-hmm. But you decided you wanted to push past the stop. You and 4 of your other knucklehead friends. So in all the 5 of you, now one of you said, we were warned. So now I say, pay the price. Pay the price. God took the time to warn you. Pay the price. Pay the price. If you pay the price now, then my prayer, because I say that to everybody, listen, you look across the street and look at them dodos. You know why? Because nobody caught them when they were 15. Why? Because no one caught them when they were 20. Now that they 39, now they living through life that they should have lived when they were 20, because nobody took the time to take with them, or they didn't have that opportunity. Now God is grabbing you at 20. You mad because God is trying to stop you from doing things when you're 19, 20 years old? Listen, take the warning. That's what it looks like when you don't take the warning. You look like all these bumbling idiots sitting up in jail, or hooked on drugs or alcohol, or you're living a life of misery. Smash him now at 18. Hopefully it'll benefit him later in life. If you let him go right now, it's not going to teach him a lesson. Yeah, he'll have to live with the fact that he mulled over maybe one of his favorite teachers. He figured they could throw the prank on this teacher because this teacher, he's our buddy. He understands. But now you done killed off the one who has really paid attention to you. Now what's going to happen to the rest of your life? That's my take. All right. Serge says, Vivian had better let those kids go to jail. They are the reason why I am dead. Oh, goodness gracious. Tamara says, I think the wife was okay with them pranking him, and it just got out of hand. That's what I'm saying. She probably, the reason why there's this petition, I agree with you, Terrence, is because she knows the kids. Because they didn't been to her house. You know, probably know the parents, you know. So, yeah, so she's making this petition. So, I don't know. I say smash them. Teach them now. You ain't going to be fumbling later in life. All right. Talk about a wow story. So this ChatGPT has become, you know, the way to go for a lot of people. It's funny. Somebody just called me the other day and told me that ChatGPT told them to do something like that. GPT, I have to say GPT told them to do something. And it was a Christian person. I was like, oh, okay. So there was a woman who had a discrepancy with the insurance company, and she wanted them to open back up her disability case. So what she did was she went to ChatGPT asking what should she do. And the story is that ChatGPT influenced her to fire her human lawyer and use it as the source of their litigation. You know, get all your information from me. You know, you don't have to pay all that money, blah, blah, blah. Well, she took the ChatGPT's advice, and only to lose the case, the judge denied her request, and the case would stay closed between her and the disability company. And she continued to use ChatGPT. Now, the insurance company is suing, saying they spent $300,000 in legal fees that they figured they would not have paid had she not been using ChatGPT. And they are saying that they had to go back and forth with all of this litigation and paperwork and all this kind of stuff. So they're charging for $300,000 in addition to $10 million in punitive damages to, I guess, whoever runs ChatGPT. And now they're all in legal litigation battle. All this because ChatGPT was hired. Shantice.
Artificial intelligence. Artificial means something made, produced, or simulated by humans rather than occurring naturally, often mimicking a natural model. So you decided to go, I feel like Steve Harvey, you, the real woman, decided to go to ChatGPT, the fake person, and get advice. Now, real quick. Influence means the power or capacity to indirectly affect, shape, or alter the behavior, beliefs, or development of people or things. So you The real woman decided to go to ChatGPT, the fake person, and allow that fake person to have the ability to affect your behavior, your thought process, and your development ideas. Who we blaming? The real person or the fake person? You chose to fire the real person. So follow what and now you want to sue because you didn't get the counsel that worked for you?
No. It's not her suing. It's the insurance company that's suing because they're making the claim that had she not used ChatGPT, I guess things wouldn't have gone on so long. So she's hired the fake person, but they've hired the real person, and the real person is charging them for all the time that the fake person is conjuring up. And they're saying, had it not been for you and this fake nonsense, we would have been able to settle this and we wouldn't have had to put out $300,000 in legal fees. So now it's her and whoever runs ChatGPT, they're suing, including $10 million in punitive damages. So that's where the lawsuit is.
Pay up.
Insurance company.
Pay up. You wasted their time. How are you should just be willing to just pay up, because that didn't make any sense. And this is why we need to stop defaulting to the fakeness, because look at the chaos that it causes. You would default to ChatGPT for something as serious as just pay the money and stop putting your name out there more for scrutiny, please, before you got to pay even more for wasting their time on top of wasting their time.
All righty. Lady Tamika, what say you?
I'm just looking at it. Just goes to show you where this world is headed. You know, you got people that use ChatGPT for practically everything. You know, their relationships, their marriage. You know, what should I do with my newborn baby? Like ChatGPT, oh gosh, ChatGPT has never had a child. You know, can't. You know, okay, fine. They give you. It's nice that they have an algorithm, but you can't live your life like that. You know, that's like, you know, get up first thing in the morning. You can't function. You got to wait for the paper to get your horoscope, for your horoscope to tell you what to function. You can't even wash. You can't even brush your teeth to find out what, you know, your horoscope says, or one of those instances. I mean, we do recognize that we are in this technological world that puts us in this circle and we can't function. You know, we make a phone call and unfortunately you're not even talking to a person. Representative. What'd you say? Representative. And it loops back into, or I'm in the process of trying to handle my business. Why do I have to prove that I'm human? You prove that you're a computer.
Right.
So you decided to fire your lawyer and put yourself in extra red tape. And now, you know, they're saying, okay, we're suing you. We're suing ChatGPT. You need to pay that money, because it just goes to show you how dependent we are on technology. You know, some people's whole entire house, before you wake up, your coffee machine is running. You know, you know, all of this technology is causing us real harm. You're talking about children in school who can't focus because of technology. She couldn't even function in her own life because she needed ChatGPT to handle her affairs.
Right. So I'm gonna take it spiritual again. I thought you two were gonna say it, and I was like, okay, I gotta find out how to say it above them, or in kind to them, or like them. We have a creator who has created us.
Yeah.
We won't defer to him
At all.
who knows us. He's made us. He understands us. The Bible says that he knew us even before we were formed in our mother's womb. We won't go to him.
Not at all.
But we'll go to the one who was made.
Mm-hmm.
That was made by him. Oh, did y'all catch that one?
Yep.
Did y'all catch that one? Did y'all catch that one? Y'all just got finished both saying that man made ChatGPT. You don't even go to that man. You go to the thing that man made, but that God made it all. You won't go to him. And you trying to figure out why now you behind a 300,000 plus $10 million lawsuit. This all happens when we don't want God.
Yep.
All happens. Terrence says, like I said in the beginning, these big corporations and companies that think they were doing things by the book when they weren't, ChatGPT is opening up a whole new can of worms, exposing everybody who loves ChatGPT. Anika says this should give people and hopefully companies pause for trying to find ways to replace workers with this artificial intelligence. You know, you both of you ladies have said it. It is artificial intelligence, something that is not real. Mm-hmm. I think they didn't forgot the original of the meaning of artificial. Mm-hmm. How have we as a society come to rely on something that, like you said, Lady Tamika, you're looking for it as to how to handle your baby when this thing has not handled the baby? Well, let me tell you, I don't know if you both of you remember, but we did a show with the millennials a few years ago, and the question was out there. It says, would you go to a live person? Right. Or would you go to the internet? Y'all remember that?
Remember.
And some of the millennials said one of the questions was how to raise your child or what to do with your child. And one of the millennials said, I'm going to sooner go to the internet. That's what you have here. You have the artificial intelligence that's handling it. And that was a Christian person. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to trust the person who God could be dealing with. So if, Lady Tamika, you had kids and you were raised by Big Mama, and Big Mama then instilled all of these things in you, God, and all kind of moral standards, and you got a child that's in college, you got a child that's a doctor, you got another child who's an airline pilot, and they're gonna look at you and say, nah, I'm going to the internet. Who God has used and can use as a model to help you. Because Big Mama didn't raise everybody's child in the block. Mm-hmm. She knows how to nurse. She knows how to do all of these things. Yes. She didn't play security guard. She didn't taught you how to bake and cook. But you won't go there. But you'll go to the internet. And this is where we are in life. Terrence says, I say things that we use. Some people do not know how to use it for its real purpose. ChatGPT is not used for people to ask how to raise a child. Used for like ways to get out of what? Out of things. But I'm still puzzled as to, can you really use it for that? What were you going to say?
Pastor Steph, this is confirmation, because I remember God put it on my heart to ask him, like, everything that I do, I want to come from you. All of my creativity, everything to come from you. And this was pre-chat GPT, like really being pushed and promoted. And when it came out, it seemed so convenient as far as like, oh, you can give me the layout for this. And I got different people like, oh, you're doing a lot of different things and it's good. And I want to sit with you and show you how ChatGPT can help you do this, that, and the third. And as they're speaking in the back of our mind, it's like, yeah, that sounds nice. And I'm sure that's what it was designed for you to give the foundation, and then it helps you put everything in order, schedule everything, like help you with that. But because we are who we are, we don't just leave it there. We take it to the extreme. We take it to get the foundation instead of asking it to assist us with structure and so on and so forth. And every time I would go on ChatGPT, the Holy Spirit was like, why are you using this? Didn't you tell God that you want him to be the source of all your ideas and everything. So why are you consulting with ChatGPT? And for a little bit, I was going back and forth, and I said, you know what, God, I'm going to stick with what you put on my heart to request. And ever since I did that, and I deleted the app off my phone and everything, different things, nothing to this extreme, but different things in regards to ChatGPT has been coming up to reinforce, like, this is artificial. If you're trusting God to give you things, but you keep deferring to this, how are you now building your relationship with God when you keep deferring to this? This is no different than when you keep referring to man, when you need to be deferring to him. And it's like we keep like you say, using different things to replace how we're supposed to be conversing with him and that intimacy with him. Now, this is just another thing that stands in between us becoming intimate with him. So it's just extra confirmation.
What does ChatGPT stand for? What does the GPT stand for? Does anybody know? I guess I could have looked it up while you were talking, but I'm looking at, you know, what people. So Terrence says it was not used for how to raise a baby, but how to get out of things. Well, technically, it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? What?
It's it says for chat generative pre-trained transformer.
Uh-huh.
What in the world does that mean to me?
So chat, of course, refers. So it stands for chat, which refers to the conversation aspect of it. Generative, which indicates that the model generates new content and stuff. Pre-trained, which means the model has already been trained on a massive level of data before it's fine-tuned for the specific task. And transformer, which refers to the specific powerful AI model architecture used to understand the context and generate the human-like text.
Okay, so let me ask a question. Would you take advice from anybody and everybody?
No.
What about you, Lady Tamika?
No.
Isn't that what we're doing when we go to ChatGPT?
Yes.
We don't know who's putting words behind that. We don't know who's giving this information. We don't know where that's coming from. So if I might as well walk up to the man at the bus stop and say, sir, you know, my fever is high today. And they say don't put alcohol on my body, but what do you suggest? That's pretty much what we're doing. That's really what we're doing. Because we don't know who's behind this artificial intelligence, who's putting this stuff in the system to answer us. When we put these questions out there, when we put these dilemmas out there, I don't think we realize that that's ultimately what's happening here. We're just throwing caution to the wind, and however we ask and whatever we get back is what we're gonna go with. Because that's you're not gonna ask not to go with it. So in other words, I will never use it. I've never used it. As much as people say, "Oh, I asked it," I'm like, I'm not going to that. What am I going to that for? Terrence says that's why I say ChatGPT is not used for everything. Only some things. You said it right, Pastor Steph. We don't listen to everybody, and we don't listen to everything from ChatGPT. But it is still the same concept. You are taking advice from someone you don't know. When you hear the advice, you're going to go with it if you think. I don't care what you're using it for. So, you know, Tamika might use it, you know, how to disinfect a sprained knee. And Shantice might be asking, you know, how do I, you know, run around the block twice, but still burn 150 calories. Regardless of what you're asking, you don't know who you're asking. You don't know who's offering up this advice. So when you get the advice, now you're going to have to sort out as to whether it sounds good or it doesn't. But yet you don't go to God, who has the definitive answer. God will never steer us wrong. So this is what the world gets. That's what the world gets. This is what, now, years ago, I used to be able to write a letter off the top of my head. All you have to do is tell me. All I needed was, and I can't do that anymore. I can't do that anymore. So I browse the internet, but I do not go to ChatGPT.
Right.
But there's certain things I do that I
To
go
give
on the
maybe a
internet.
template.
Right. And I look for different ways things have been done. And then I let God pull it all together for me. This ChatGPT, people are literally looking for the answer. So in other words, I'm going to type in, and I'm going to tell you how I'm going to prove this to you because I just saw it the other day. They're typing in, I need to write a letter to my doctor so he could write a letter to my doctor. So whatever ChatGPT spits back, you're taking that same thing and you're writing it on your paper, or you're copying and pasting it, and then you're sending it to whomever you need to send it to.
Mm-hmm.
You're following exactly what it's telling you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's what we get when we don't go to God, who can tell us exactly what it is to do. That's different than what I just described. I don't want ChatGPT or the internet to tell me what to write. I'm looking for some ideas, and then what I will do, I'll take my thesaurus, I'll take my words, I'll take, thoughts. Now it's formulating a thought in my, helping me to formulate a thought and put it all together. These people are literally using ChatGPT, just like it was said in this instance. She actually allowed it. It told her, fire your lawyer, you can hire me and I will tell you everything to do. That's exactly what happened. That's what people are looking for ChatGPT to do. I'm not interested in why you want ChatGPT. I just told you the other day, somebody told me who's a Christian that they use ChatGPT to tell them to do X, Y, and Z. And I didn't say a word. I asked no questions. And y'all know I'm a question asker. I didn't ask a thing. I just sat and listened. And I said, God, this is what we as Christian people are deferring to.
Yep.
Pastor Steph, we have to realize everybody in this world does not have patience to wait on God's answer. They are too busy being in a rush to 1 inch now instead of waiting on God's. You don't have to tell me that, Terrence. I live my life telling people that.
But even with that, that's the problem. Nobody wants to learn how to do anything. Nobody wants to wait. And the world keeps offering these fake answers.
Substitutes.
Yes. These fake answers that are actually substitutes that help you get nowhere. So you don't learn how to. My niece was asked something last night. I don't remember. And someone said, oh, well, she said that they don't really write in school because everything they use the devices. And I'm like, okay, so now you have yet another disability. I was just talking to her about learning how to take shorthand dictation. I said, do you know what that is? She said, no. I said, see, that's a problem. We were literally taught that directly when I was in middle school. Now y'all are in middle school. So now not only are they not teaching y'all penmanship, but y'all don't write at all. So here goes the spelling. Here goes learning how to properly hold a pen and pencil. Here goes
grammatically the word.
Right. You don't really learn punctuation all that much only by typing. You have to learn how to write. You have to learn. You know, there are people who don't know how to write on loose leaf paper where there are lines, and they don't know how to write the letters on the line.
And telling time.
Yes, like grown people don't know how to do these things because the world keeps offering these fake answers that makes you lazy and handicapped, and you thinking you doing it. And you thinking you making it, and it's not a tool. And then you get mad when someone points out to you that you don't know how to spell, that you don't know that your grammar is off. Now you all offended and you mad. But hello, these are things that you need. So you need patience. ChatGPT is not teaching you patience.
No, he says Terrence says the crazy part is ChatGPT told her to fire a lawyer and use her and for ChatGPT to scare a live lawyer is crazy because a real lawyer wouldn't have not made the other lawyer work so hard, and that's like ChatGPT, and that's exactly what happened. Like I said, Terrence, I agree with you 100%. That's what I spend my time here 5 days a week talking about. the fact that we are finding substitutes for the real God.
Yes.
Because nobody wants to wait. Because everybody's got this instantaneous, microwavable desire. You know, yeah, I need my answers now. Let me go ChatGPT and they'll tell me what to do. And that's exactly why it is failing us. That's exactly why. It may seem good. It may even quote unquote work. But at the end of the day, we're going to end up behind the 8 ball, letting ChatGPT and AI tell us everything we want to do. You know, I produce flyers for the events that I do, the announcements for the broadcast. And on one day I opened it up and it said, let what did it say? Let AI create the flyer for you. And I just sat there and I looked and I said, no, thank you. And sometimes I'm like working, but I'm like, no, I can, they give you a million templates. I can take, you know, a little piece here and there and change up the font and do all of that kind of stuff. But again, it's telling me don't use any of your creativity. Don't use any of your ingenuity that God has given you. So here you have Tamika, and I'll throw it out to you, Lady Tamika, because Shanti said it. You have a group of children who are not even learning to use a piece of paper and a pen. What does the world look like right now?
It is ever so scary. You trust artificial intelligence before you trust God who created us all. The fact that this thing said to her, go ahead and fire your lawyer. I'm just looking at something like that. Don't feed your baby. Don't sleep with your husband. Isolate yourself. Kill yourself. Like, how many other suggestions, you know, because we realize that this is an algorithm.
Right.
You know, it's not a person, you know. And here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is, and I'm talking about, I'm putting it in a corporate perspective. When I worked for this specific company, they gave us a bot. So basically, we taught the bot how to function. We taught the bot how to respond to customers, blah, 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 blah. Then the bot began to tell us what to do. And we had to respond according to what the bot said. Regardless of what I know, my own knowledge. My knowledge says that the information that you're giving me is not accurate. However, because I'm employed by this place and the bot tells me to do this, then I've got to do this and say this to the customer. And unfortunately, this is how we are at the point where we're living our life. You can't even get up and write a letter. You can't send a chat to a person. You can't communicate in real time with your friend. People don't even talk anymore. Pick up the phone and call somebody and check on them. This is the world that we're living in. So now, because the bot says it, you know, or because ChatGPT is saying it, this is how you're going to function. No, we don't want God. We don't want the real true answer that will function for the rest of life, because God knows your entire future. He knows your past, your second. He knows your emotions, those things. He knows your triggers. ChatGPT only has this segment that was taught to it by something. And based on the algorithm, it gives you an answer, you know. And how do you know that that's going to work for your life? I'll give you one more instance. I remember Al had gotten toner from the printer on his hand. He utilized the internet. And when I tell you there were 20 different remedies to get the toner off of his hand, and in actuality, all he had to use was a pumice stone, you know, but he went through all of these options. You know, he tried alcohol. He tried fingernail polish remover. He tried, you know, how many different no's are you going to get from Chat?
Right.
before you understand that the real true yes comes from the entire source, the whole thing, the producer of the manufactured product who created everything. Go back to the source and trust and believe you'll get the right answer the first time.
Right. And that's what the word of God tells us. You know, you would defer to something that the maker made opposed to trusting the maker.
Correct.
Crazy.
But the Holy Spirit reveals to me too that this is one of the ways that the enemy is using to speak to us.
Absolutely.
Because he knows that we're going to rely on this. So I may say the first 5 things that don't seem harmful to continue to get you to trust and rely on me. And then it takes that 6th time. To where I have you doing something like this. Because it was not God who told you to fire your lawyer only for you now to be getting sued.
Right. But not only getting sued, but for an amount of money that she could never pay.
So
you can't even get your disability case open, but you're gonna have 300,000 plus 10 million.
Right. So God told you to fire your lawyer so that you can have any type of penalty. If it was $2, any form of penalty, that was God. There's only 1 or 2 entities that help you make that decision. And God is not going to help you set yourself up for the downfall. If He's going to give you a consequence, it's going to come direct. He's not going to tell you to do something that's then going to lead to your consequence. That's just dumb. The devil would do that, but God wouldn't do that. And once the Holy Spirit revealed that to me, and I was like, yeah, absolutely right. And I remember we were on my church group and I were talking, and it came up about the videos that they have on YouTube, like Sleep with God and, you know, all of this. And they'll, you know, be having like the rain in the background and so you can listen to the rain and then they'll be reading verses and stuff. And I said, and it was like, you know, I don't trust that. I don't do that. I said, well, actually, that's ironic y'all say that because I fall asleep to that a lot. I fall asleep. I said, and not only that, there have been plenty of times I wake up to verses that are being said that either answer something that I've asked God or prayed about. I said, but again, a lot of that comes with discernment, because I agree with y'all that you do have to stay on point, because while you fall asleep, if the enemy is trying to now use that
lulling
as
you, right.
And like one of them said, because of course when you're asleep, you're completely vulnerable. You don't know nothing. But like they said, if you're praying before you go to bed and now you're figuring, oh, you know, I'll just put this on, the Holy Spirit will bless you with that discernment. Like, no, don't watch that one. Don't play that one, or don't do any of these at all. He definitely will. Right. But yeah, this is definitely one of the ways the enemy will now try to use to dictate. And he's trying to come up with all different kind of tactics that he know we're lazy enough to follow. And we're just going to go right along with it. And it's sad that he can rely on us relying on him.
Yep. ChatGPT, Terrence says, these tablets, all the things they take out of school is to control us. That's what it's all basically, you know, about. Control. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The enemy has designed higher ups to design these things. So now it makes it look official. And you know, it's for the benefit of the kid. Anika says can't read script or write it. Dumb down the students. I remember when one of the girls went to what do you call it? Nursery, the daycare, and they gave them like a little report card. And one of the things was they know how to recognize their name. So they said no, and I'm like, yeah, she does. She knows how to recognize. She knows what her name looks like. And you know, Shawnee's has the most complicated name, actually. Shantice, Tamasia. I mean, they're not normal names, if you will, but they're a lot easier to spell. And but I don't think it was Shawnee's that I was talking about. It was either Shantice or Tamasia. It must have been Tamasia because it was here in Queens. Tamasia. She doesn't recognize her name, and I said she does. Oh, they said, oh, we want her to recognize in their script. I'm sorry. My 3-year-old has not learned script. So why are you rating as to whether she should know her name in script? I was like, no, take that nonsense off of there. Again, the higher ups are designing these things to put against our children that's not realistic. So now you don't teach them script, but now you take the pen and paper away from them altogether. Now let me tell you how this is bad. So we used to have meetings all the time, and I'll never forget. I master a notebook and a pen. Why? Because for me, visually, it works better. So when I think about, so for argument's sake, if I've constantly written on this piece of paper, if I step away from that paper, if I'm trying to remember something I wrote, all I got to do is close my eyes and I can visibly see the paper. I can remember that I wrote the word Tamika up in the right-hand corner with a phone number. So I call back to the house and say, Shantice, do me a favor. Look at my notebook, look on this page. I said, look, and she said, Ma, it's all over. I said, no, all you gotta do is look up in the top right-hand corner.
Right.
I wrote Tamika and her phone number. Or I wrote Shantice's name in red, and that's on the bottom left. That's the way my brain, because I have that type of photographic memory. What was happening was they were saying, okay, we're gonna bring you the notes. We're gonna type the notes out and we're gonna hand them out next time. So they handed it out and I looked at the paper and I was like, oh, hell no. I'm sorry. I'm being honest. That's exactly what I said. I was like, nah, this ain't working for Stephanie. Why? Because all the typewritten words look the same to me for Stephanie. So imagine how many children. So that's a skill. I'm not tapping myself on the back, but I'm just telling you that's a skill. Because what happens is God uses that memory for not only that piece of paper, but how many other things in our lives that God uses our memory to call back things. When you write notes in your Bible, you remember you wrote a note in your Bible. Why? Because all of the words on the paper look the same. So God utilizes that skill for his glory. He utilizes that skill to help move you in life. So now I've taken away all the paper and pens. And all you got is one piece of thing that looks like everything else.
That I'm giving.
How does God develop your brain like that? God can't develop your brain with this here like that, or at least to the degree that he could. And because everybody is accustomed to working at this level, when he pushes us to this level, there's a war. Am I making sense, ladies? We're so accustomed to working on a lower scale. As long as all I need to get by, all I need to use. No, God is pressing us to grow. And we can't grow because we're allowing this world to dictate. All we need to do is this much. So the world has told our students, all you need to do is know how to, you know what? I can type quicker with all my hands on the board. I can literally type all the numbers, all the symbols. I can run a keypad. I don't have to look at it. Now, here's what the world has been taught. Oh, as long as you can type with 2 fingers, you good. But I was taught years ago, we were taught straight typing. And when you were taught everything on that keyboard. Everything on the keyboard. And I remember working with a guy and he said, I want to type like that. This well before 2 fingers came along. So I want to type like that. And I was like, what are you talking about? He said, I want to type like you. You don't look at anything on the board. He said, all you're doing is looking at what you need to type, and you type everything, symbols, numbers, everything. Don't underestimate the old school ways of doing things, because there was a lot more they were teaching us than what they're teaching our children now. We have been has life been watered down for these children that they don't have to do nothing.
My God.
Well, what are they teaching? That's why there's so much time for these teachers to introduce LGBT and all of that, because you ain't teaching nothing. Now I see why there's time to stand around and watch them fight and do all of this, because they come out of the womb knowing how to work these tablets.
It's true.
You don't have to teach a baby how to drink from a bottle or how to drink from, right, how to be breastfed. As soon as you put that to their mouth, they know what it's there for and how to utilize it. That's exactly how these devices are. You don't even get them in the car seat home from the hospital from birth yet. And already they hitting the home button or scrolling up, getting identified with the YouTube icon look like on the screen. They scrolling past all the other icons. Once they see that big red one with the white play button, they know that's YouTube. You ain't got to teach them that. So now, like you said, Pastor Steph, you're giving them this. What are you really instilling in them? You're not instilling anything. I know someone my age who went to go apply for a job. Part of the application process was they had to type, I think, 40 words per minute. I believe it was 40 words per minute. They didn't have to do it live. Somehow they had to type something and then bring it back, something like that. However it was done, they got their child to do it.
Oh Lord.
And the way I tore them up, I'm surprised they still talk to me. So they were everything from a ditz to everything. I created new names to give them. And I'm like, you got your child taking your test. So if you get hired, which is the worst thing that God could allow, if you get hired and they expect you to do this, what you gonna say? Let me take my coffee break and
right
you gonna go home. Right. You gonna go home and get the child out here. You gonna bring the child here to type for you. How does that work? So even in my generation, which I question more and more every day, even in my generation, where we will learn things directly, but we were taught things directly, we still didn't grasp. Some of us still didn't grasp everything that they was to grasp. Because even if you weren't like you, Pastor Steph, you should still know how to type the basic words without looking. That and I know how to do those things. Now, don't be asking me to type the whole soliloquy. Excuse me, I gotta look. But the basic words, you should know where to hit the cap and the shift button, all that. You know nothing. We were taught typing in school. Why'd you have to go get your child to pass this test for you?
Because while
so
they were
never
teaching,
gonna ask you to type, they never gonna ask you to type again.
Because when you were being taught typing, you thought something else was more important to learn and didn't realize the value of why you would need this typing class later. And that's life. That's what we're faced with now, y'all. Ladies, this has been I was going to end early because I ain't feeling well. Boy, y'all helped to take me straight into the end of the show. Thank you so much for your great contribution into this conversation, and we pray you have a blessed day.
Thank you, too.
Thank you. Ooh, artificial intelligence. Amazing that what God has allowed to surface, we're using to replace God. Terrence is right. This is a set of people who nobody wants to wait on God. Nobody wants to be patient. And, this is the easiest way to get things done and the quickest way to get things done. Everything is on this expedited path. And, I'll go back to what I just said about the typing class. You didn't think much of the typing class. You thought, I'd rather go hang out in the hallway, or I'd rather not go to school today, or whatever the situation was, not knowing that later on, that skill would benefit you. It's a breakdown. And this is why, listen, we're becoming extinct. God spares my life. I'll be 60 years old. I'm involved with my grandchild's life heavily, but a lot of times me and her mother and Shantice, we war against Shawnee's. She does not agree with a lot of things that we say, despite the fact that she was raised in certain things. I'm not teaching Mariah anything that I didn't teach her mom, but because people get older and people have their own mind and people do things the way they want to do it, and they war against certain things or whatever have you, that this is, so now she's doing certain things with her daughter that I'm like, nah, keep them standards up. Mariah, don't do that. Mariah, don't do that. But yet when she's home, mom says it's okay. And mom is not seeing what Stephanie is seeing. Mom is not seeing what her mother is seeing. Mom forgets that you're in your 30s. I'm getting ready to walk into 60. God spare my life. I've seen a lot. Not only have I seen a lot, I'm investing. So I don't go into anything on just kind of being on the outside. Anything I get involved in, I'm involved in. So I get to see. And I don't talk as much as I observe and pull in. You know, it may seem like I talk a lot, but believe me, before I speak, I have caught very little I miss. I tell people very little. If I'm in that room, I ain't missing much. Why? Because God has to use me later. So if I'm a bubblehead and I don't pay attention to things, how can I bless you? Right? So I constantly remind Shawnice, I'm sorry, you're 35. You have not seen or know the things that I know. You are not watching the result of all the negligence, all of the quick microwavable things, all of the expedited things. You're not seeing how people are suffering right now because they wanted to go, straight. No stops, no pauses, no detours, no nothing. They just wanted to go straight and they did whatever they needed to do to get there. And I said, you're not seeing that. You're not seeing the result of that. You're not old enough to see the result of that. So respect what I'm saying. You may not agree, but respect what I'm saying. To now, let me filter that into your daughter. And we may not agree. And I'm not trying to be her mother, but I'm trying to prevent her from suffering. I worked hard for you girls. I wasn't perfect, but I worked hard for you girls. God gave me what he gave me for you girls. And I'm watching as you are adults now, that those things, so you're warring against what I'm teaching Mariah, but the same things have benefited you. Ooh. Boy, are we paying attention? Shawnice has her own life, making her own decisions, but everything Shawnice is doing is from what I taught her. She just graduated last May with her master's in social work. It was your mother who would not allow you to sit still when you wanted to parlay. And you just was like, oh, well. I went to school and they said to me, hey, Shawnice she's not bad, but Shawnice is just here. We don't even know she's here. And that's Shawnice. That's Shawnice. To Major, everybody knows she did. Shantice, yeah, we'll get to know Shantice. But to Shawnice, she would blend in the room. Nobody would know she was there. That's just the way she was. She just melt in. She wouldn't have a lot to say. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, nah, mm-mm. And I pushed her. God opened a door for me to push her into, because I was pushing her, but it was limited until God opened that door and I pushed her there. And I'll never forget, she came to me one day and she was like, I don't want to go to college. And I was like, I didn't expect for you to go to college, but you're going to finish K through 12. I don't care what you do. You living in here, you're going to finish that much. Now, whether you decide that when you graduate, you get a job or graduate and go to college, I'm all for you. But you're going to finish that, because that K through 12 teaches you some fundamentals that you need for your life. Well, when I looked up, homegirl was going for her associates, and I was like, oh, nice. In social sciences, human sciences. Then when I looked up, she was like, I'm going for my bachelor's. Then when I looked up, she was going for her master's. All because she had a mother that would not let her die on the vine. All because she had a mother that God instilled in her what to do with these girls. All because she had a mother that would not allow, parents I have heard tell me, I've had parents I've heard in the room say, well, they need a little time to kind of get to know themselves. I don't think so. And do what? While you're trying to get to know yourself? Die? Not here? Now, you may agree, you may not agree, but I'm watching the fruit of my labor that was only given to me by God for those three. Because see, what I gave those three may not work for others at their ages, but he gave me for those three. That came from God. They ain't come from no ChatGPT. They ain't come from no artificial intelligence. It came from God. And I'm talking about not even being a praying woman that I am right now, but staying in church long enough to just kind of pick up the bits and pieces, knowing that I need to be in church. God needs to have some kind of influence on my life. I had not given my life to the Lord, but because I put myself in the arena. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. If I wasn't there, it couldn't be given to me. If I didn't put myself in a position, it couldn't be given to me. And I give God thanks, because from what I've come from, what I've gone through, I could have definitely ended up anywhere else. But I had three girls that I was determined was not going to become a piece of garbage. They were not going to become lackadaisical. They were not going to just do any old thing with their life. No, I'm not going to tell you which wall the book to walk in, read, but you better believe you're going to read a book. And I look at how she wars against us, sometimes against Mariah. And I'm saying to myself, you don't realize that I'm looking at a world where the enemy is having a ball with these kids. See, you think that you got here, so she's up against something different than y'all were up against. And God has blessed me enough to keep up, that even at 60, I'm functioning as the 35-year-old. I remember my grandmother always ahead of her time. Always. She was always doing stuff, always presenting things, always suggesting things. If you stuck with her, you may not have thought that it was going to work for that time, but trust me when I tell you, you hear me quote stuff here all the time from her that she said when I was a young adult, when she said I was a kid, and I see it now. I see now. Back then, she used to say, I'm not marrying nobody. They liars. I'm not marrying anybody who's not in the Lord. She would say stuff, and we were like, Dad, why are you all extreme? Now, if you don't want to submit yourself to the Lord, you ain't going to properly submit to nobody on this earth. And if you are submitting to them, it's because the Lord has mandated it so. And even your submission may not be exactly the way God wants, but because this world is accustomed to its working, that they're satisfied with that. But she was way ahead of her time. She would always talk about stuff. And even that terminology I don't like to use, but for the sake of understanding for everybody, yeah, she would tell you stuff that you wouldn't see right then, but you can land. And that's what I try to give my daughter. Look at what they're doing with our children. They don't even want them to write. I remember being a human resource administrator and having a form, and I gave it to one of the young kids, and he brought it back, and there was a date, print your name, sign your name. He brought it back. He printed his name in the signature side. So I said, Mark, what? No, you got to print your name here, but sign your name here. And he said, Steph, I don't know how to write in script. And I was stuck. Because that was the first time I had ever heard that a grown person could not sign their name. And I was like, they didn't teach you that in school, huh? He was like, nah. I was like, okay. Something that's key is a signature. Because when you go for that house, you want a house, you ain't putting your printed name on the signature line. See, we don't think like that. We don't think about how God is preparing us for real life. And ChatGPT is not real life. I don't care what you use it for. I don't care how little you use it. That is not for real life, because it is taking some advice from someone. You don't know where that's coming from. And you're going to hope that if you use that advice, it's going to be beneficial. You're going to hope that if you use that advice, it's going to work. I ain't got no time for hoping. Walking into 60 years old, I need for everything I do to work. I ain't got no time to throw caution to the wind. Keep my fingers crossed. Hold on to a rabbit's foot or a lucky charm. Knock on wood. And no, I need for this life to be nailed. I need to know that whatever I'm doing, God is pleased with. Because the next thing that happens is going to be relying on what happened 5 minutes ago. But we don't think like this. We don't think like this. Oh, ChatGPT is harmless. It's not harmless. It's not harmless. Vivian brought us a story that shows how harmless it's not. Because see, here's what you're gauging. Here's what you're gauging. You're saying, well, I wouldn't take that advice. But somebody just did. And look at the calamity it caused her. So you think you had a hard time with being disabled, they closed your case, and now even the judge is saying, no, we're not opening, I'm not pressing them to open up your case. You haven't brought a compelling argument enough for them to reopen your case. That means that you have no income, which means you can't even buy your food, pay your rent. But now you are in a partnered lawsuit. They are suing not only the insurance company, but they're suing you for $300,000 plus $10 million. Now they probably know they're not gonna get this money, but that don't mean that you ain't gonna be running back and forth the court. So guess what? You disabled sitting up in the courthouse. I'm disabled as well. And when I tell you that I suffer, yesterday I suffered. Only by the grace of God, I'm sitting here today. So I know what it is to be disabled and I have an appointment. I'm like, because I hope and pray that my body, because I got to go to the doctor. I have to go to this place. Or I have to go. You got to go. But you just pressing and hoping and praying that, listen, God, I hope you enable me to be able to go. So here she's now wrapped up in a lawsuit where she's going to have to show up whether she's physically ready or not, or it's just going to prolong the case. So it's not innocent. Anything that you use that can fail you is not safe. It's not safe. Not when you have options. And if you don't realize it, I'm introducing the option of God. The very Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end of our existence. All good and perfect gifts come from above. Not from ChatGPT, from above, from God. God knows everything about us. The word of God says he knows every hair on your head. He can number. He knows every level of head. So as you combing it, brushing it, and it's coming out, as you losing it because you taking bad medication is working against you. If you're going through chemotherapy and it's coming out, if you just old and it's coming out, whatever the reason is, every time it drops, he knows. And he knows Shantice is the same time he knows me. He knows Terrence the same time he knows Shantice and Stephanie's hair. He also knows Terrence's hair. He also knows Tamika's hair at the same time. He knows it all. And I don't ever have to worry about if I took advice from him. It's guidance. It is guaranteed to be right. I may not see it at first, but it will manifest into the best thing I could have ever decided to do. But we want to go with ChatGPT. Again, I always say it here for the longest time. This is a result of us saying no to God. He ain't mad. He's just going to let the enemy exist. He's going to give you every ability to choose him. And you choose not, then you just deal with what you did choose. God has made us a free agent, and he has not changed that yet. No matter how bad it's getting, he is not changing the fact that we are free to choose everything we do. He has not made us robots at all. At no point has he made us a robot. We still have every ability to choose him or to choose the world. And when we choose the world, aka the enemy, the devil, because that's who's running the world. Yeah. So let's get ourselves together. We can't learn to live off this AI. Like I said to you, I just take some templates and, I add in all of my, skill that God has given me to make, the flyers, and I get a lot of compliments. Oh, this is beautiful, blah, 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 blah. And see this, and I use the template. I just change colors and change fonts and do all of that. If I allow AI to just take over, then how do I bless God? I'm walking into, I told you the other day, when you go to the doctor, as you get older, they give you different things to do to prove that you're not like at the brink of Alzheimer's or dementia. Well, I need to keep that up on a regular basis because I need to be fresh and sharp for y'all. I need to be fresh and sharp for when I read that word of God. I don't need to be reading it and going, what did I just read? I can't understand it. Nah, that's like that. Nah, I need to be sharp for God. And whatever it's going to take, I'm going to get it done. And I pay for it. I sit here, I pay for it. 2 hours with you all, I pay for it. If a bed ain't near me, boy, I'm suffering. I gotta go lay down. I gotta go stretch my body. I gotta go move my hands. I gotta do things that's gonna keep my brain sharp. So if I allow artificial intelligence to even do something as create a flyer for me, and I think, okay, we're going to use this because I don't feel like working, then I'm deteriorating. They tell us all the time that we have to do things. We have to eat. We talk about that all the time. There are things that we do to keep ourselves sharp. Well, put ourselves in alignment with God is going to be what keeps us the sharpest. Guaranteed. And that's why, despite the fact, yesterday, when I tell you unbelievable pain I experienced yesterday. And I said to God, I said, why? Why does it feel like it's getting worse? My condition is getting worse. I said, I walked 20 minutes yesterday. I was paralyzed after that. I said, God, why is it that it's like I'm getting worse? But my brain, he ain't allowing nothing to touch that brain. This mouth, he ain't allowing nothing to touch that mouth. The body, y'all may open up your screens one day to His Due Time with Pastor Steph, and I might be in the bed. But I'm doing whatever I can do. It's, oh, you need to walk, build your body up. You don't know what it's like for a 10, 15, 20-minute walk. About 20 minutes yesterday. And when I sat down, I was like, oh, I'm already paying for this. Halfway through the walk, on my way back, I was like, oh, Lord, I'm going to pay for this. But I praise God because whatever's happening with the physical, part of my body, my brain, but I don't have any stamina to do anything else. So whatever I do is done in increments. And that's how I serve God. But I will yet, with all that I am losing, I will yet to hand my life, my decision making to somebody's artificial intelligence. And that's why I told you the other day when somebody in the Lord said, oh, well, I went with ChatGPT and they told me to do such and such a thing. I was like, and your Bible didn't tell you to do that? I ain't say a word. The Lord, you couldn't pray about that thing? Because to me, whatever they were talking about was real simple. Oh, you do that. But that's because I'm in the Lord. And God gives you today for tomorrow. Whatever He gives you today, behind this screen right now, you may not use everything for today, but you'll be prepared for tomorrow. I promise you. I promise you. I host this show, and that's what God does. I can't tell you when I have conversation with the different Due Time members. That's what they say. Sometimes we walk straight into it. By the time I hang up and disconnect with you guys later on in the day, something's smashing me. Like, oh, were you listening to the broadcast today? Because we just got finished talking about that thing. Yeah. I find myself saying that more now than before. Were you on? Because your answer was already there. Somebody in the past KL said it, or Tamika said it, or Ainsley said it, or Shanti said it, or somebody said it before we could even get out the day. And then sometimes it's like a week later, a few days later, you're like, we just got finished talking about that on the broadcast. God is preparing you every day for what you will come across. ChatGPT ain't doing that. You may not be able to take what ChatGPT gave you and apply it for everything. I don't care how innocent it is. I don't care how accurate it may be. So it says, you know what? Do this. In this instance, you asked a very direct question and they gave it to you. Very direct. Now, you can apply that, but whatever God gives you, I promise you, it is across your life that you can now make it. Okay, so let's get this going. Try Jesus, not ChatGPT. This 300,000 plus 10 million may not be your result, but I may get behind the back end. All righty? All right. You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. As you go through your day, be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. They will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew, the ladies, for always coming through big time. Thank you. Oh, Terrence, you were on it today. Thank you all for just being in this chat room and helping us do what we do. Thank you for just fueling us and keeping that conversation going. Could not do it without you. Please do not miss life to Christ. Please do not miss this opportunity to strengthen that relationship with the Lord right now, because later may not be yours. Later ain't promised to none of us. Until tomorrow, God spares, where it's Therapeutic Thursday. Until then, I love you.